I get it, guys. I understand. You want to start jiu-jitsu, you want to get going, you want to start strangling people, but you've got no idea where to begin. You don't know the industry, you don't know who's good and who's not. What is it you're even looking for at a gym? I've been in the game now for 20 years and I've had my own academy for 10 years and I've been around lots of different gyms and I have a good understanding of what beginners experience. Obviously, everybody was a beginner at some stage, including myself. I started day one and wandered into a gym not knowing anything. So we've all been there, except for you maybe, if you're watching this video. The thing is, how do you go from the idea of, I want to start training jiu-jitsu, it looks like fun, to actually making it a hobby where you can rock up and regularly be training each night? What's that? How do we fill that gap in between? Use YouTube, do some research, find out who's good, what to look for, watch videos like the one you're watching right now. There's a lot of great content out there and start to get a feeling for what jiu-jitsu is, some of the things you might want to look for, some of the things you might want to stay away from, because you don't know. You're going to just Google a gym, you're going to rock up, and whatever they do, good, bad, ugly, whatever it is, you're going to assume that's how the industry operates. And that could be the case, or maybe you've walked into a place that's not very good. And unfortunately, like any industry, there's going to be good eggs and bad eggs. And the martial arts industry is no different to any other industry in that regard. How do we look for the good eggs? Hopefully this will help you out here. Firstly, have a think to yourself. How many days a week would I like to train, or do I see myself being able to train? Am I going to be rocking up once a week? Am I looking to train 5 days a week? What am I trying to get out of this? Do I want to be a competitor? Do I want to just have a bit of fun and get fit, learn a strangle here and there? Do I want to just get a session in now and again, and this is just going to be a real part-time thing for me? So have a think to yourself, what is it that I'm looking for? Because for you, it might not matter if the gym is the highest level of tuition. It might just be some nice people, it might be a good atmosphere, and you might think, you know what, doesn't really matter whether these guys are producing world champions. This place is going to be really good for me, and I'm going to have some fun. Or if you're the guy who wants to come in and compete at the ADCC World Championships, which is the pinnacle of our sport, you might think to yourself, okay, I need to find a place that has some runs on the board. I need to find somewhere where they've produced champions and I can go in there and be confident that they can help me. So these are some things to consider before you start out. Even though we don't always start out saying, I want to be a champion, some of you are going to be thinking, I want to take it more seriously than less seriously. Your next consideration is going to be, what type of jiu-jitsu would I like to learn? Do I want to wear the gi, which is the traditional uniform, where it's a slightly different style of jiu-jitsu and normally a different rule set will be taught? Or do I want to do no gi, which is a little more fast-paced, definitely a different style? There probably is going to be more leg locks involved, maybe more wrestling, as opposed to in the gi, it might either be no standing position whatsoever, or maybe some small amounts of judo, depending on the school. It's definitely worth looking at, what are the credentials of the coach at the school you want to go and train at. Is he a purple belt who has never really done anything before and has been training for 2 years and is trying to get you to sign up to a membership? Or is he an established coach? Maybe he's a black belt, and they don't have to be a black belt, just so you understand. But is he established? Does he have some type of credibility? And that's tricky for you. You go in, you might see a sign on the wall that says he's got a certificate or something like that. That is tricky, and I get it. You're starting out in the industry. And it is an industry where people can lie about certain things, but just do a little bit of research. The internet's a pretty useful tool nowadays. Definitely don't believe everything you say on there, everything you see on there, I should say, but it is worth having a look on there and seeing, has this individual who's got all these belts hanging on the wall ever actually done anything? Because that might be a big indicator as to whether this gym's going to be good for you or not. Have a look at the facility. Does it have everything you would like? Does it look clean and tidy? Does it have bathroom facilities with showers? Surprisingly, some gyms don't even have showers. So you're doing a sport where you probably want a shower after you've trained. If you go in and there's just a toilet, that might be something that steers you to the other academy down the road. Again, these may or may not be things you're interested in, but definitely the overall academy, the aesthetics, the way it makes you feel in there, you're going to spend a lot of time in this place. So make sure it's something that you're actually happy with. Don't be afraid to ask them at the end of class, what are your membership options? And talk about things like, is this a committed contract? Am I stuck in this for 18 months? If I want to cancel it, Do I have to get stuck with a 6-month cancellation? There's all different types of things. I'll give you a little insight into my academy. Over the years, I played around with different things and I followed along with what other people had done. And then I got to a point where I said, you know what? If somebody wants to train, they're going to train. And if someone doesn't, they're not. So me putting some type of crazy contract is not going to assist in that process. So at Sydney West Martial Arts, what we do is if they're on a direct debit, there is no 12-month contract or anything crazy. They're indebted to 4 weeks of training, which is reasonable. At least you're not just getting people come in for a week, go crazy and disappear. And then if they want to cancel, it's a 2-week period, which really is just to allow for administration purposes. So really it's like a maximum 6-week notification all up. You go into a lot of these other academies, they might have you signing up on 12-month minimum contracts, and then there might be extended periods of cancellations. Again, if you're cool with that, totally fine. And it's not a shot at gyms that are doing that. I understand why they do it. They're trying to keep members for longer periods of time. The way I see it is if you like the product, you'll stick around. But ask them about these things. Don't sign anything. Don't agree to anything until you're happy with that. Don't be afraid to go home after your first session without signing up. I'm a terrible businessman. I'm going to tell you that honestly. At the end of class, I have someone new. I don't actually go and harass them. I wait for them maybe to approach me and I say, how'd you go? Did you have fun? Normally it's, yeah, that was heaps of fun. And I explain membership options and I just say, look, mate, go home, have a think about it. If you enjoy it, come back to me and you'll sign up. The way I see it, if I pressure that guy to sign up, maybe he does, but that might have been something he wasn't comfortable with. And I'd rather have someone who came back wanting to train rather than someone who was kind of hoodwinked into a contract. So be careful. Some of these gyms will harass you until you sign on the dotted line. I personally don't like that, and you don't have to do it. So don't feel like you do. Don't feel like you're going into a long-term relationship. You don't have to stay at this gym forever. You might train for a little bit and 3-6 months down the track, you've been in the game a little, you've talked to other people, you go to a competition and you start to realize, oh, wait a sec, I think what I'm doing here is not very good. Maybe my gym isn't all it was promised to be, or maybe it's just not what I wanted. Don't be afraid. You're not indebted to this person forever. As gym owners, we do the best we can to provide a service for our customers and for our students. But we totally understand at the end of the day that if the relationship's not right, we should go our separate ways. So as a student, don't feel like when you're going to this gym for the first time that is it. You're committed for life, you're married. Even marriage doesn't last nowadays, but you know what I'm saying. I would say to you, don't be afraid. 6 months in, you're like, look, this is not going to work. I move on and maybe I can make a better decision the second time around. What can you expect on your first day? Well, you're going to probably book a class through the website, and most websites operate like that nowadays. So you'll book a trial, you could call them, you could email them, but look, it's not a big deal. Realistically, if you just rock up, that's what a gym owner wants to see, is that you're showing up and you're willing to give it a go. On your first day, be clean. Don't come from a 12-hour day on a work site and you're filthy dirty and you're sweaty and you're gross and you rock up and expect to wrestle around with other people. Turn up nice and neat. Wear some clothing that is not too loose, doesn't have any zippers or buttons. Cut your fingernails and your toenails. Bring a towel with you, maybe some soap as well if you're going to shower afterwards, if that's an option there. And bring a drink bottle unless you're going to buy one at the academy. Some academies don't sell drinks and things like that. And just come open-minded. Don't freak out. Everybody has their first day. Everybody that walks in here, I say, look, I understand you're a bit nervous, just relax. They look around, there's 40 people, they're all wrestling each other, and there's people kicking pads and crazy stuff going on. Don't worry, everyone has their first day. No one's looking at the first day guy going, oh, look at that guy, I'm going to fucking get him. No one operates like that, and if they do, they're a dickhead. Most places are going to be more than happy to help you. You're going to find there's someone in the group that'll gravitate and help you out. If you're lucky, the instructor will be a good guy and will pair you up with someone they trust, and you'll get to ask them questions. But just turn up on your first day. No one expects you to know everything. Just try. Just try. The other thing I'll say is don't go like a complete psychopath when it comes time to do some wrestling rounds. You will come up pretty sore the next day and you might accidentally hurt yourself or someone else. So as much as it's going to be crazy, your first time doing Jiu Jitsu, don't go like it's a street fight to the death because it's going to be tough on you. After your first session, you're going to be exhausted, you're going to be dripping with sweat. And a lot of the academies, the coach or the person who works there is going to come over and they're going to start the sales process. Like I just said before, don't feel any pressure. Take your time, catch your breath. You can say to them, look, I'm going to have a think about it. Can I get the options off you that I've got for memberships? And then go home and have a think about it. Look, if you absolutely love it and you want to sign up, I'm not stopping you. And if you want to use that as motivation, by all means, but don't feel pressured. You've come in, you tried out the class. As a gym owner, we offer the free trial so you can come in, no commitment, and just give it a go. That's all. And a lot of people that run gyms, we back the product so much that we're happy to think that if you had a good time, you'll come back in anyway. That's the way I look at it. So don't feel like you have to sign up on the first day, head home, you'll probably come up sore the next day, and then try and get back in there a few days later and get your jiu-jitsu progress started. It's the best thing I ever did. I started when I was 18. I'm now 39, turning 40. And it's a huge part of my life, and I can't stress enough how good jiu-jitsu is. You can do it rain, hail or shine. You can do it whether you're young or old, so don't think it's just a young man's game. There's plenty of 50, even 60-year-olds that do jiu-jitsu. You just moderate your output. And it's not just a good physical outlet, but it's also good mentally and socially to be around a bunch of other people, and you can come in and have a chat and have a good time, get a sweat up, and I highly recommend it. And if you've got any questions, put them down in the comments, and I do my best to answer them. So any day one people that are going to try out an academy, feel free to put a comment down there and I'll get back to you. All right, guys, see ya.